first off, hopefully you see our new posters. Yesterday was a big day for the state. Unemployment dropped to 7.8%. It's the first time in 5 years that our unemployment rate is below the national average. As you know, the 4 years before I became governor, the unemployment rate had tripled from 3.5 to 11.1. The state had lost over 825,000 jobs. State debt increased, and the housing market had collapsed. So this poster will show you that since December 2010, we've generated about over 282,200 jobs. This shows you what's happened to our unemployment rate. It's gone down much faster than the national average. And this will show you that this was the spread between ours and the national, and now for the first time since January 2008, we're below the national average. Now, we're not stopping there. If you look at the things that we're doing in the state, our workforce boards are doing a great job. Last month they filled 38, in the month of February, 38,000 jobs. Housing market has come back. Tourism is up, record tourism last year. So a lot of the economic indicators are indicating that we're heading in the right direction. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody has.
Do you have any second thoughts perhaps about signing the ban on internet cafes that would put 13,000 people out of work?
Well, look, I think now with what's happened with allied veterans, all these things are on the table. So I look forward to seeing what the legislature does with that.
Will there be programs for those 13,000 people? How will they, will they be able to collect unemployment?
Well, first we have to look and see what the legislature does.
Governor, the Inspector General's office for citizens, do you want that in your office, or do you want that with the Financial Services Commission?
Well, look, here's what I care about on citizens. The things that I care about is, one, I want to make sure those outlandish raises are reviewed. I'm appreciative that Barry Gilway came here today to answer a lot of the questions I had. I want to make sure that we have an Inspector General, that they have the clearinghouse. I want to make sure that they do what they said they were going to do with regard to the travel policy. I think they ought to really look closely at the people that took advantage of that travel policy in the past.
Do you care if the Inspector General is here or at Financial Services?
I'm okay either way.
Governor, did you know about Jennifer Carroll's error-filled disclosure forms?
Oh, I'm sorry. So you start.
Error-filled disclosure forms. She had a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Here's what's happened. I mean, as you know, Lieutenant Governor General Carroll has resigned. She did the right thing for the state. She did the right thing for her family. As you know, I'm going to wait until the end of session to start looking for another lieutenant governor.
She did a fantastic job. How do you rate her performance?
Well, I think, look, Jennifer worked hard. I mean, you look at unemployment, what's happened in our state. She worked on that. She did a good job of building relationships with the military. The base commander meetings we had every 90 days, she did a good job with regard to that. Look, we have 3 unified commands, 20 military bases. I asked her to focus on that, and she did a good job.
Governor, have you made a decision yet on how you're going to handle the issue of any contributions that you received from companies affiliated with Allied Veterans?
Sure. Yeah, sure. My understanding is there were 4 checks for $500 that went to my campaign account when I was running for governor. I'm going to take this total of $2,000. So I'm going to write a personal check since that campaign account's closed. I'll write a personal check for $2,000 to Florida Veterans.
Governor,
It's Florida Veterans Association, I think is the proper name. I'm sorry, Steve.
How will the, I know you're not going to deal with the LG search till after the session, but have you made a decision, how will it be structured? Will Adam Hollingsworth be in charge of it? Who'll do the vetting?
Yeah, Steve, I haven't even started on that. I'm focused on session, making sure that we get the $2,500 pay raise. In case you haven't remembered, it's a $2,500 pay raise for classroom teachers and get rid of the sales tax on manufacturing equipment.
Okay, I've got a quick citizen's question. To
Sure.
get back to Mr. Gilway. I mean, if I'm correct, several weeks ago you asked that those employees give the raises back. Not only haven't they given the raises back, it sounded this morning like Barry Gilway was justifying those raises, saying a lot of people at Citizens make less than the private market. So what is your response?
I still believe they should give the raises back. I'm glad that they're moving their expense policy to what the state expense policy is. I think they ought to really go back and look at the employees that took advantage of the old one. It's positive that he's trying to make sure that all policyholders know the risk of the hurricane assessment tax. I think that's positive. He needs to set a goal. We need to meet that goal so that it's going to come back. I think that's positive. So there's a lot of positives, but I think you have to really look at the people that took advantage of the last of the old policy.
Governor,
a new poll has you well down in approval ratings, and also you're losing support among Republicans for Medicaid expansion. I'm wondering, do you look at this as alarming at this point? Do you see the public is not looking at your record of success, or how are you going to turn this around?
There's one poll that matters. It's November 2014. I'm working to make sure that every citizen in the state has a job. Every citizen in the state knows that their family can get a great quality education, and we can keep the cost of living low.
Governor,
You've got two bills going across that would change FRS pension. Which one would you prefer? Is it the one with a closed pension as of 2014, or the other
Sure.
one that's more gradual?
Here's what I care about. I care about the individuals that are relying on the existing pension plan, that they're going to get their pension. That's what I focus on every day. I want to make sure that they have a pension plan that they can rely on.
Do you think it should be closed?
Look, the legislature's having a bunch of discussions about this. What I care about is that everybody in the pension plan knows that they're going to get paid out their pension.
Governor, it
you
appears
want
we've
something-
narrowly averted a massacre at the University of Central Florida, and I wonder if you think that will give any impetus to the legislature to perhaps take a closer look than they otherwise would have at what's going on with guns in Florida.
Well, anything like that, you always worry about, all right? Here's the positive. Our police chiefs, our sheriffs, corrections, they've done a great job. Our enforcement in our state has done a great job. We're at a 41-year low in our crime rate. Look, anytime something happens in the state, it always says reflect back and say, what could we do better?
Governor, have you had a chance to, anyone brief you yet on either the House budget allocations or the Senate budget allocations in terms of where you think they are at this point in the process?
Well, not on the Senate, but in the House. Here's what I find interesting. My understanding is the Speaker's against the pay raise for classroom teachers, all right? But in contrast, he does across-the-board pay raises for state workers. Now look, state workers deserve to be paid fairly, and that's why in my budget, I said they should get a bonus because of what's happened with unemployment coming down. I said correction workers should get a bonus because of recidivism coming down. On top of that, we should have a bonus plan that 15% of them could get $5,000 and another 20% could get $2,000. But I find it interesting that the Speaker's against the pay raise for classroom teachers, but is okay with across-the-board pay raise for state workers and no performance funding for universities. As you know, in my budget, I believe in performance funding for universities. It should be tied to, one, how much does it cost per degree? What are these individuals making when they get out of school? And then finally, what percentage of them are have jobs when they walk out or are going on to graduate education?
Are you sure that the Speaker's against the teacher pay raise, sir?
That's my understanding.
Governor, in your first year, you supported something very similar to this Florida retirement system change, where new employees would be prohibited from going into the traditional pension. You have not advocated that for the last couple of years. Did you have a change of heart on that?
Here's where I look at. We have a system now where everybody's paying into their pension plan. All right. What I worry about today is my $2,500 pay raise for classroom teachers, and the sales tax, eliminate that for manufacturing equipment, because it does the two things I care about. I want every family that wants a job to have one, and I want every family to know that their child can get a great education.
Last
Does
question.
Medicaid expansion fit into your sales pitches anywhere, or are you just going to let that drift along?
Well, a few weeks ago I put out my position on that. I said, look, while the federal government's going to pay 100%, I can't in good conscience deny individuals access to care.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.